Hey guys, welcome to the Streams of Income radio show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. Today, I have a really cool guest. He's an author, a book called Start with Your People. I'm holding it up right here. I know that you guys sitting out in your car or jogging around can't see this, but got to get the book. We'll talk about that here in a second. I've known Brian for a few years now. It's so fun to see everything that he's doing. He serves a good friend of mine, a mutual friend of mine, Dan Miller, who I need to get him on the show too, Brian. He'd be an awesome guest.
Yeah, Dan's
but
awesome.
Guys, we're going to talk today about how to get unstuck, how to love your work, and how to make your dreams happen. Brian's a podcaster. He speaks at conferences. He's a coach. He talks a lot about clarifying your calling. I remember that first speech when I first met you was at Dan Miller's Coaching with Excellence, and you talked about figuring out your ideal avatar. Yeah. And I believe your ideal avatar is Cheryl. Is that right?
That's right. You still remember.
And that was I learned a lot from that about who is your ideal audience. He's passionate about helping authors, speakers, aspiring messengers. Guys, all of you should have a message. All of you do have a message. And I hope that by listening to this show, it'll help you figure out what to do with it, how to get that out there, because people need that. He has a doctoral degree. I didn't know that, from the University of San Diego. What a horrible place. I'm sure that was difficult having to hang out there. Oh man, that's beautiful. And then you have your wife's name is Julie. I've not met your wife or your kid yet, but you live in Charlotte. So Brian, welcome, man. Thanks for being on.
Ryan, I'm honored to be here. And man, I love talking about money. It's so much fun. So like, I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to help you guys listening right now. We're going to make you some money today.
Awesome. Let's do it. So guys, he has an awesome story. This show, Brian, this is only the 7th episode into it. So I'm learning as I'm going, trying to figure out how to serve this audience well, what they need, what they want, what's going to get them over what they're dealing with currently. I think your story is going to help them out. So let's just go for it. Let's have a conversation. Well, tell me about your story and maybe what led to writing your book.
Oh yeah. What led to writing my book? I really believe that your mess is your message. And so Ryan, you mentioned that people listening might be aspiring messengers. I really believe that you listening right now, while you're jogging, while you're commuting, wherever you happen to be, that you have a message to share and an audience to serve. And even if you're an employee, if you're stuck in your job, you're just over broke job that you hate, dreaming about, starting your Amazon business or your eBay business or your, membership site or whatever you dream about doing, I really do believe that right now you have a message to share and someone to serve. Someone in your life right now needs to hear your message. Right. And so for me, my message started a few years ago. The message I'm currently sharing, which is called Start with Your People, because I really believe that's the path. People are the path to purpose. Purpose is the path to profit. And profit is the path to practice, which is, what do I do every day? What do I do every day? I start with the people in my life. And the truth is, Ryan, I wasn't starting with the people in my life. I was running over the people in my life. I'd started my own online business. I was in K-12 education for 14 years as a teacher and then a school administrator. And I got the itch of writing books and speaking at conferences and fell in love with online products. I created my first DVD that I sold online. Oh, cool. And I wanted to do it full time. And I pursued my dreams over my relationships, and my relationships suffered as a result. And that's really where this story began.
So you were a teacher. That's cool. As in you went into all what you're doing now. So you sent a Facebook message out to your audience about how you felt. You learned some things from current customers that led to this book. What was that path? You call it your path to personal discovery.
Oh, yeah. I was actually talking to my business coach that helped me with this. We just got off the phone about 30 minutes ago. Okay. So his name's Mike McGreevy.
Yeah, I know him really well. I'm in a mastermind with him.
Oh, very cool. And so I was interviewing Mike, and Mike mentioned, at the end of this interview, he said, if you really want to, I said, do you have any other tips? And he said, if you want to take your life and business to the next level, you need to do a 360 assessment. And for those unfamiliar, a 360 assessment is a chance for people to people all around your life. That's the 360 part. The assessment part is to tell you what they think, good, bad, the ugly. So what is Brian great at? Where is Brian really stuck, or what's he not good at? And if you could say anything, you ready for this? Anonymously, what
Mm,
would you say?
mm,
Because the truth is, people in your life right now, okay, your spouse, your
mhm.
friends, your pastor, your neighbor, have opinions about you. And in each of those opinions is a little bit of truth, maybe a lot of truth. And so maybe it's the way you're coming across. And that was my issue, that I was sort of, demanding and focused on results instead of
Mm,
focusing on bringing people with me. That was really my challenge. But I guarantee there's somebody in your life right now who has some insight, who has some wisdom to help you grow, to help you move forward in your business. And maybe this happens with my entrepreneur friends all the time, people I coach, but also just people in my life. When they start a business, we get so excited about our idea that we don't think our baby's ugly.
mm.
We just can't see it.
That's right.
Like, I was talking to a friend 6 months ago. He was starting a business
Uh-huh.
and the business made sense. The
Mhm.
revenue model made sense. And
Uh-huh.
then he told me the name of the business. And
Mm,
I about choked on my coffee because it didn't make any sense.
mm.
But he's my buddy, right?
Yeah.
And so what do I want to do? Well, I get a choice
Mm.
there. I get to decide, do I want to quote unquote support him by saying,
Right.
it's okay, buddy, keep going? Or do I say, you know what? I don't think you should call your business that. I've learned,
Mm.
you say, I don't think you should call your business that.
Yeah.
And you know what? 9 times out of 10, they probably don't listen anyway. And that is on us, right?
Mm.
That's on us as the receiver of that, to decide, are we going to take the hard feedback? And
Mm.
it's funny, I was in a conversation the other day. We were at this event,
Uh-huh.
and somebody's really struggling in their business. And I've got a little test. So this is a test for you guys to see how willing are you to listen to somebody else's feedback? Because I wasn't willing. And here's a little test. When somebody recommends something to you, like a book or a website,
Mhm.
do you write it down?
Mm.
Do you go buy it? Do you read it? Do you write them back and say, thanks for the recommendation? Here's what I'm going to do as a result of that recommendation. Because
Mm.
most of the time, I got to tell you, I speak at a lot of conferences. Most of the time, I'm talking with somebody after my session. They say,
Mhm.
that was great. I'm really stuck here. And I say, have you read this book? And they say, no. And I
Mm.
say, well, write it down. Go get this book.
Yeah.
And they don't even take out a pen to write it down.
Mm.
You think they're going to remember a week later, whatever book I talked about? They won't even remember my name, let alone the book.
Mm. Wow. That's so true. Yeah. For me, that's just speaking right to me, because sometimes I don't write it down, but it depends on who it is. If it's somebody like, what if I'm trying to learn something from you and I see that you have accomplished something I'm trying to get to, then
Yep.
most of the time I do at least buy it. Now, that doesn't mean I've read it.
Yep.
I'm learning how to figure out how to, with a two-year-old, how to budget my time
Right.
to read. I'm listening to a lot of audible books when I'm working out in the morning. And
So
by the way, you've inspired me with your morning routine, and I've been doing
good.
something similar for the last couple months now.
Love
So
it.
on that journey together with you. And we'll probably talk about that, guys, because that, I guarantee, I guess he would say that his morning routine is probably one of the main keys to his success.
I get three times more done
Yeah.
by 10 a.m. than
Yeah.
most people do in a week.
Wow. That's
Like
incredible.
I know the math sounds crazy, but I think I'd stand up with that one.
Mm.
Just by 10 a.m. in one day, more people get
Uh-huh.
done in a week because we're just distracted to death. And I've
Oh,
got
absolutely.
about 4.5 hours of focus before
Yeah.
10 a.m.
My goodness. When do you go to bed?
Last night I fell asleep at 9:20.
Okay. Well, you have to. I saw that you posted on Instagram that your morning started at 4:33, I believe.
Yeah.
With reading your Bible and writing down in your journal, and then
That's right.
think you. Well, I guess let's talk about that. We got about a minute and a half left before this segment. We'll go take that into the next segment. But what does your morning routine look like? Because I think that that's something that's so easy for people to be like, well, I'm not a morning person, or
Right.
I can't exercise. Just not me. Or I'm not going to read. I don't like to read. I haven't read since college, and they made me read. Now I don't want to. And so talk about that morning routine and what that's been like for you.
Yeah. Nobody likes the work, but we like the results.
Right.
And I think you have to decide, what are the results that you want?
Mm.
So the results I want is, I want to go into my day with clarity.
Yeah.
I want to know, what's the purpose of my day?
Mm-hmm.
And the only way for me to do that is to get quiet. I'm a person of faith, so I get quiet. I listen for what I believe God is saying through his word and through prayer, but I also journal and I write out, where am I stuck? What are my hopes? What are my fears? What are my doubts? What am I excited about?
Mm-hmm.
And just taking time to do that in the morning before the kids are awake changes my whole day.
Yeah. Oh, I have a 2-year-old. How old are your kids again?
3, 6, 9.
Yeah, so you know what it's like. When he was first born, before that, I was waking up about 7:30 and doing a decent morning routine, not working out.
Yeah.
But now I actually was talking to Michael McGreevy a couple years ago. He said, you're just going to have to get up before he gets up. And so that's what I've started doing. Makes a huge difference. So guys, we'll finish, we'll continue this conversation about the morning routine in the second segment. We're talking with my buddy, Brian Dixon, author of the book, Start With Your People. This is Ryan Rieger with Streams of Income Radio. You can get the book for free, my book for free, Streams of Income at streamsofincomeradio.com. We'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back. This is Streams of Income Radio. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. We're here with my friend, Brian Dixon, author of the book, Start With Your People. Guys, he's been all over the country talking about this book. I'm seeing him post on Instagram, Facebook. Brian, maybe someday we'll get an episode just about how to promote a book that you've written, because I feel like
I've learned a lot along the way.
You've done it the right way. And you are, every time I open on my Instagram, you're there. And it's not a bad thing. It's like, wow, you got really good content. And it's not all about, hey, buy my book, buy my book. It's, you are starting with, us in mind as your audience.
Right.
How can I serve you? And that's awesome. You're living what you wrote. And so that's super cool.
Thank you.
Guys, you can get the book on Amazon. Is that one of the best places for them to grab it?
Yeah, we just got numbers, our first week numbers, and 43% of our books were hardcover books on Amazon.
Wow.
And then another 30% was a mix of, I think Kindle was 16%.
Okay.
And then whatever the rest of that 14% was Audible.
Okay.
So it's
awesome.
on Audible, Kindle, and hardcover. It was interesting. Hardcover, like outsold audio by 4 times, which
I'm actually surprised by that. And there's a tip I'll tell you. I learned, was listening to somebody else's podcast. Yeah. Remember who it was, but that there's a book called You Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. And they were using that as an example. They were looking at the number of reviews. I think it was Carrie Oberbrunner, actually.
Yeah.
He's a friend of yours. He was saying that there was a lot of reviews for the hard copy book, but then he said, go to audible.com and look at the number of reviews. I want to say it was like a couple thousand reviews on the hardcover book. It was like 50,000 on the Audible book.
That audiobook is amazing.
So I guess just people are listening to that. And he was just saying that if you were an author, that you need to have an audiobook out there, because that's how a lot of people now are consuming content.
Well, because this is Streams of Income, right? So the lesson there, just apply to you guys right now, is you can take one message and actually make 14 streams of income from it.
So true.
And so as an example, let's say a physical book. The physical book is also a Kindle, is also an audiobook. But what David Goggins did with that particular book, he wrote it with a co-writer, because he's not a professional writer. Like he was a guy that was like in the Marines and the Navy SEALs or whatever for forever. And so what he did is, their publisher, they worked with a professional narrator who's also an interviewer. And so the narrator read the book. So he didn't read the book. The narrator read the book, which I love when the author reads the book, but I understand why they went with a professional guy, because that's not really his forte. But then after chapter 1, then there was like a 40-minute conversation with David about what was it really like to live that hard life that he talked about in chapter 1. So it was double the length of the book, because you really got into the nitty-gritty of the story. And that's what I think really compelled people. It felt like an audiobook and a podcast kind of put together.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah, guys, I'm actually just started that book too. Got a bunch of books on my shelf that I need to read. It's like, I need to just focus on one or two at a time. Right. So guys, in the first segment, we were chatting with Brian about his morning routine, and it's not normal. It's not what normal people do, but also, guys, his success isn't normal. And so he is doing things that you need to do to reach the level of success that he has reached and is going to reach even further, I know. So talk about, what does your day look like once you get out of bed?
Oh, it's so fun. Yeah, I actually, as a challenge to sort of myself, and because people kept asking this question, I thought, let me just document a normal day. And it was really tempting to like make the day even better than normal, but I documented a whole normal day.
Right.
So it starts at 4:30.
Like get up and jog 10 miles or something.
Right. Yeah. I didn't run yesterday, but that's because some days I don't run, but most days I run. But your morning routine starts the night before. So you just got to decide if I want 6 hours of sleep that's what I shoot for. Some people say 8, that's fine, whatever. But I say, if I want 6 hours of sleep, that means that if I want to wake up at 6 a.m., I have to go to bed by midnight.
Yep.
Well, I'm 41 years old. I can go to bed earlier than midnight. There's no reason for me to stay up that late. So then what happens if I go to bed at 10? Well, 6 hours of sleep is 4 o'clock. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Well, guess what I can do if I wake up at 4 o'clock? Anything I want.
That's right.
This morning, Ryan, I have my hour with God. I call it my holy hour. And then after that, you know what I did?
What's that?
I edited a video of my band.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I saw when you went back home to Canada and
right.
And
it had nothing to do with income. It had nothing to do with my business. It was totally for fun. I don't think I'm going to sell one more book as a result of me posting that video, but I was smiling the whole time I was editing this video. And I got to tell you, I didn't have a client, my wife, a friend, a boss, anybody looking over my shoulder going, Brian, what are you doing? Because it was 5:30 in the morning when I was editing this video.
Right.
Like, hey, for you, especially for you stay at home or you work from home, moms or dads, you know, or even going to the office, but you're like, your kids are little, like my kids and like, you know, Ryan as well. And so many people listening, if you've got little kids, Johnny Cup says, be selfish at 5 a.m. I love it. You know, you can choose to be selfish. You can be selfish at 10 p.m. because you can watch 2 more episodes of The Office, and that's fine. But I would rather trade in, you know, Dwight and Jim for an hour with God and a little bit of time to do something fun for myself in the morning before the kids wake up.
That's so good. I've been, have you heard of Terry Foy? She has a book called 5 Things Successful People Do Before 8 a.m.
That's right.
She's actually a friend of my wife's. She has a ministry down here in this area, and she speaks all over the world to a lot of women really identify with her. But this book really hit home with me. She said the 5 things that she does is she reads, prays, exercises, listens to a motivating message, like maybe a sermon or a podcast, and then reviews her dreams and goals / writing in her journal. And I've been doing that. And when I come home from the gym and my son's not even up yet and I can tick those 5 things off, I must be a person that likes to mark things off, but I just feel good. Like it's 6:30 in the morning. I've marked those 5 things off on my list. Like, wow, today's going to be a good day. So
good.
That's so true. Cool. So so you and I work from home. We have kids. We get to be home with our families. So talk to me about what that morning routine, or let's say somebody already gets up at 5 to go to a job. This is not something I planned on asking you, but this kind of flows in with this topic. Thinking about who's listening to this, what would you tell somebody who maybe they wake up at 5 already and they get home at 6 o'clock in the evening, they got a couple hours to spend with their kids before they go to bed. How can they transition to a business? Like how do they even fit that into their schedule?
Oh yeah. That's like, so somebody that has a full-time job, how do they start a side business? Yeah,
essentially like we're thinking about this morning routine. Maybe it's not waking up at 3 in the morning. Maybe it's just staying up a couple hours later, or instead of, watching Seinfeld at night or whatever the shows are now, spending that time on your business.
Yeah. And I did this, and I did it in multiple positions that I had. There's so many people that I could quote. I think it's Jim Rohn who would say, spend your days working on your business and your nights working on your dreams. I like that idea. So I really do believe that one of the best things that you can do for your side business is to show up in a bigger way for your real business. So your job, your boss, I talk about this in the book. There's a whole chapter on your boss. Because your boss is the gatekeeper to your dreams.
That's right.
Because the opportunities that I had came through my relationship with my boss. Even when somebody else wanted to hire me from another company or give me a consulting project, I still had to check in with my boss, or they checked in to say, is Brian the real deal? So I really say, if you're an employee, make your boss your number one client. Show up for your boss, help your boss win the day, help your boss look awesome. And I know that's a countercultural message, but think about it. If you think beyond your job description and say, what can I do to go above and beyond for my boss? Inevitably, what's going to happen is your boss is going to say, hey, this happened to me the other day. There's a conference I really wanted to go to. And I'm like, I can't be in 2 places at once. So I asked one of my team members, hey, would you go to the conference for me? Would you go take notes?
Oh, cool.
This person is like, are you kidding me? You'll pay for the travel and the hotel and the ticket, and I get to go learn. And like, they were blown away. And I'm like, yeah, that's because I can trust you.
Yeah.
You know, I know you're going to do a good job because they saw it as their job to make my day and help me look awesome and help
Mm-hmm.
my business move forward. So that's number one.
Yeah.
Is really show up for your business, because there's so many people trying to start a side business that
Mm-hmm.
hate their day job, and that's
Yeah.
the wrong attitude. Because here's what happens:
Mm-hmm.
as soon as you quit, the day you quit that day job, you know where
Mm-hmm.
I'm going, right? The day you quit that day job, that new dream job, that one that you started yourself, is your new day job.
That's right.
And you'll go back into the mode of, oh,
Mm-hmm.
gotta go do my day job now. And
Right.
you created the prison for yourself.
That's right. Oh man, that's so good. Brian, we got about a minute left in this segment. A lot of the folks I'm sure that are listening have regular jobs. They might want to do what we're doing. Maybe they don't. Maybe they love what they're doing, or just want to continue or see themselves always as, having an employee. And guys, that's another quick thing. If you're an employee, you're still an entrepreneur. Your customer is your boss.
That's right.
So don't think that, oh, Brian and Ryan are entrepreneurs and I'm not. I'm just, sitting over here working a job. You're an entrepreneur too. You just might have one customer, and we have multiple customers. So I want to get into, you love talking about how to love your job. So let's talk about that in this next segment. Guys, you're listening to Streams of Income Radio. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. Remember, you can get my book, Streams of Income, for free at streamsofincomeradio.com, along with all the show notes, all the links we'll mention. We'll put Brian's book in there so you guys can get that. It's Start With Your People. Guys, we'll see you in the next segment. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Streams of Income Radio. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. Remember, you can get my book for free, Streams of Income, at streamsofincomeradio.com. We're chatting with my buddy, Brian Dixon, who wrote the book, Start With Your People. You can get it on Amazon. I'm really excited to dig into this because if it's anything like the content that you're sharing on Instagram, it's going to be awesome. And so, guys, one of the things that he talks about, or loves to chat about, is how to love your job. I know a lot of you are still working a regular job, and please know that is totally okay. You might be exactly where God has called you to be. So don't feel like, oh man, I'm just, working at this day job and wanting to be an entrepreneur, but maybe you're not where you're supposed to be. And maybe you just really want to start a business. Well, let's get happy where you are now. We touched on this in the earlier segment about how if you currently hate your job and you quit, your entrepreneur or your business might end up being, just take that place. You might end up resenting that too. So talk to the folks out there, Brian, who are still in a job, how to love where they are, how to get content and be happy where they are now.
Oh, that's such a great question. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to not feel like I'm living like my highest calling, not feel like I'm serving my ideal client, definitely knowing that I can make a lot more money. No, like not loving the idea that I had to say yes and show up at a certain time and smile and, even though I didn't feel like it, like it's, I get it. And I've been there. So the first tip is to show up. We talked about this in the last segment, to really show up for your boss, to help your boss win the day. Number two is to have a clear vision. And I have a chapter on creating what I call your profitable purpose, or your mirror manifesto. Imagine having a little statement you could read every morning about where you want to be. Yeah. That was probably the best tool to help me get out the door of my job, was to know exactly what I wanted. And so, I think it's Tony Robbins who says success leaves clues. So one of the best things that you can do is look around and find a model. Find somebody that you want to model your life after and say, one day I want to blah, blah, blah. And exactly what is it? And then here's the magic of social media is you can find that person and several other people like that person and hear their story. How did they get to where they are? And what do they do every day? So as an example, if you eventually want to quit your job, and I say eventually, not tomorrow, but eventually want to quit your job and, have a full-time Amazon business, make it your mission to go listen to all the podcasts, watch all the YouTube videos, go to the conferences, buy the conference recordings, like invest in your time and your income, invest a percentage of that in learning how do they do it, but not just learn. You have to start implementing. So that's tip number 3. So tip number 1, really show up for your boss. Tip number 2, have a clear vision. But then tip number 3 is to track your hours. And I know people hate when that you hear this, but it's so true. Yeah. We all have 168 hours a week, and you probably have 4 that you could spend on your side business.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite a lot when you think about it.
Right.
You know, what's that? 15 minutes a day.
Yeah.
You know, just a little bit more than that. You could,
Mm-hmm.
or 8 hours a week. I mean, imagine if you spent 1 hour a day, 7 hours a week on your side idea.
Mm-hmm.
That might be 5 a.m. It might be 10 at night. It might be at your lunch break. There's so many ways that you can do it, but you've got to start taking action.
Absolutely, guys. That is the key, is take action. I love that you talk about investing in yourself. Of course, we've heard that from our friend Dan Miller. He spoke at the conference 2 years ago about that exact same that I went to, the Jim Cockrum CES conference, about investing in yourself, that an investment in yourself is by far the best investment you'll ever make. I think Warren Buffett says that too. Guys, that is so key. Get around the folks that are doing this. Find somebody. You're right. With social media, you can find somebody that's basically living the life that you want to live. How do they get there? What do they do? Follow the same steps. And it's totally possible to do this. It's totally possible to live your dreams and do it. You know, I feel like Brian and I are right. We're living our dreams. We get to be at home. We get to wake up at 5 a.m, 4:30 for you. That may not be everybody's dream, but
you know, it's so funny. It's like anything. It's like working out. It's like writing a book. It's like anything that's worthwhile doing. There's that just initial resistance that you push through. So I've been doing this Holy Hour challenge. It's 4:30 to 5:30 in the morning, completely quiet, just writing down what you believe you're hearing from God through the Bible and also through prayer. And that was a big challenge. And today was day 20. So
awesome.
20 days straight. And I got to tell you, Ryan, when 5:30 comes around, when it's supposed to be over, I don't want it to end.
That's awesome.
But the first couple of days was really hard.
Sure.
And so here's my challenge. And I'm actually thinking maybe I should do 4 instead. Like I'm starting to wake up. It took 20 days, but I'm starting to wake up. Today I woke up at 4:09.
Okay.
Without an alarm, because my body's starting to get used to this idea. And so you've got to build the muscle. And so if you've been in a job that you hate, you've built up some muscles, right? You've built up these muscles of hating your job. You've got to start working on the other muscles of starting to work on that side business.
So true. I love that you said that your time with the Lord, because Brian, I'll just be honest with you, and you know, we're on Christian radio here. The ideas that I've gotten from my prayer time have been the best ideas of my whole business, because they're not my ideas. I feel like, you know, God's essentially downloading them to me, and because it's on my heart, just like it is yours, to serve my audience. I believe that I'm in my sweet spot, as Dan says, that I'm doing what I'm called to do. And it's like, God, if you want to serve these people through me, you're going to have to give me the ideas. You're going to have to show me what's going to help them. And he does every time. And it's so cool. I mean, this radio show, I don't know if you know the story of this, but I did not seek this out at all. I was looking to go in and advertise on one of the stations, because I thought, well, my book streams of income, there might be some guys out there that are listening to the station and might be interested. So maybe let's see what advertising costs. That was something that the Lord laid on my heart to do. And I finally did that. And it turned into a meeting with the sales rep, and he telling me about advertising, but then telling me, you know, we're in a situation here in Dallas. It's never this way, but we have spots open for your own show. And I'm like, ooh, interesting. Tell me about that. That just kind of lit something inside of me. Like, that could be really cool. What an awesome platform. I prayed about it, talked to Elaine about it, and we're doing it. So, and you're our 7th guest, and it's an honor to have you.
Love it.
Got about 4 minutes left in this segment. You said something in your on your website where you help folks out who are interviewing you. You have some awesome questions that you like to talk about, and gosh, they're all good and they'll all help everybody that are listening. But this one here, like when you're networking, your favorite question to ask is, what are you working through? And so instead of like, hey, Brian, what do you do? You know, that's always the question you get asked when you're at a party. What do you do? And they're asking about, you know, what's your job? I'm an accountant. I'm a whatever. Talk about that question. What are you working through? Why do you ask that? And what's that end up doing for you?
Yeah, especially for you guys that are trying to find another way to generate some income. This is a magic question. Just asking people. It's essentially like, where are you stuck? But it's a really nice way to ask it. You know, so you know, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, in the South, and it's very common in the South as you're going about your day. going to the grocery store, wherever you happen to be, people say, how are you?
Right.
You know, and you say, I'm fine. How are you? And they say,
Exactly.
I'm fine. And you say, hope you have a great day. And they say, I hope you have a great day. And sometimes they say, bless your heart, you
Right.
know, and that's the whole conversation, rinse and
Exactly.
repeat dozens of times in a week. Well, what if you were to, instead of saying, how are you, you were to say, what are you working through? Sounds really similar, but it's slightly different, because when you ask somebody, what are you working through? They immediately think about the challenge they're facing in their life.
That's good.
And the truth is, every single person has some sort of challenge. And most of the time it's a relationship challenge. There's something that's going on in our life that we wish we had somebody to help us with. And that right there is a business opportunity.
Absolutely.
It's an opportunity to show up for the person that you're talking to, but also when you start paying attention to where people are stuck, often there's a product, there's a service, there's a coach, there's a course, there's some sort of way to help people get unstuck, because I really do believe if one person has the problem, then a million people have the problem.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. That's so true. Wow. So do you do this like when you meet somebody for the first time, you're asking them that question?
Oh yeah.
That's
Oh
awesome.
yeah. It's gotten to be second nature now. You know, so it sounds like, how are you, how are you doing? I just say, hey, what are you working through right now? There was a dad at the bus stop, you know, where we drop off our kids a couple days ago, and literally introducing myself. And I said, yeah, like, you know, cause he works from home. And I said, well, what are you working through right now? He said, oh man, you know, and he, like, that's the answer. He starts telling me the thing where he's stuck, you know, because we know where we're stuck. And we don't know necessarily how to get out. And that right there is what entrepreneurs do. Entrepreneurs solve valuable problems, meaningful problems, and generate a significant income and significant profit by helping people solve their problems.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. I love that you said that, guys. And there's nothing wrong with profit. You know, my friend Jim Cockrum says something, I'll probably butcher this, but profit means that I don't have to ask for donations to continue serving people. It's you know, it's my way of being able to continue to do what I do. And so there's nothing wrong with that. You need to seek profit. We just talked at our conference that we had in Illinois. Rabbi Daniel Lapin was just there. He's the master of talking about this. He's the author of a book called Business Secrets from the Bible. And he's a Jewish rabbi, and he's got so much insight into business and how awesome business is and the opportunities that business creates, because essentially it creates relationships, and that's what God wants. He wants us to be in relationship with each other. And so business creates transactions that make me, you know, I have to reach out to Brian if I want something. Let's say he's a car salesman, I need a car, I have to go to him and get a car, and vice versa if he needs a course from me. So business does that, guys. It's so super cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So guys, we got one more segment with Brian. I'm excited. This has gone crazy fast, but we'll jump into some more good stuff here. You're listening to Streams of Income Radio. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. You can get my book for free. It's called Streams of Income, name of the show, at streamsofincomeradio.com. And also, guys, get Brian's book, Start With Your People. You can grab that on Amazon. Guys, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Streams of Income Radio Show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger, and we're chatting with my buddy, Brian Dixon, author of Start With Your People. He's a coach, a podcaster, a public speaker. I first heard him a few years ago at a coaching event. He talked about finding your ideal person, your ideal audience, which is so super key, because if you have a message, you need to know who that is. Who are you trying to reach? And reach those people, serve those people. So Brian, this has been fun. Let's chat about one thing we talked about in the break, which is not everybody's going to be behind you on your dreams. There's going to be folks that like, oh man, you're stupid, or maybe not say that exactly, but you're just not providing the support that you feel like you need to do what you need to do. How do you deal with those difficult folks in your life that aren't your biggest cheerleaders?
Yeah, there's somebody in your life right now that is asking this question. Who are you? Yeah. Who are you to think you can start an Amazon business? Who are you to think that you could leave your job, the job that you should be content to have? Who are you to think that you could break out of the molds and kill your commute and not and have a 10-step commute instead of a 10-mile 1-hour commute? Right. And the answer is you're an incredible person. You're a messenger. You have a message to share. Good. You have an audience to serve. And the truth is, the person asking that question might just be the person you look at in the mirror. might be you. You might be the one saying, who am I to listen to this streams of income show? I don't know if I can do it. And I've faced those doubts as well.
Oh, sure.
And I think it's so important to call it what it is, which is it's doubt, it's fear, right? False evidence appearing real. And so what do you need? You need clarity of vision. If you have so I have a TED talk that I talk about this: a mission to pursue, a mentor to guide you, and a mindset to see you through. Mission, mentor, and a mindset. And that's one of the best things that you do. Now, there's a couple ways to do that. And start with your people. There's 2 specific chapters to help you overcome this right here. The first one is a chapter on friends. The idea of having a mastermind, having a group of other people. So for me, other guys who I've shared my dream with, and they say, you can do it, Brian. And we meet weekly to encourage each other. And it's a place I can share my doubts. I can share my failures, but I can also share my wins without them being jealous. It's really important. We call it the brag table. You want to have a table where you can have people around and say, look at what I did. And they're like, you did it. That's awesome. You're like, awesome. Yeah, what did you do? And they said, I did this. You're like, you did it. That was awesome. So you need that in your life. So that's the power of a mastermind. And then also there's a chapter on having a vision for your life. And I call it your future self. Because the person that I'm actually trying to impress, besides God, the person that I'm trying to impress is Brian 1 year from now. I've been trying to ask myself this question every day when I look at my calendar, look at my agenda. I canceled a meeting this morning at 11 a.m. I canceled it at 10:03, and I felt kind of bad because I knew the guy had this on his schedule for the day. But I looked at the meeting and I asked myself this question, Ryan. I said, will the Brian a year from now be glad I took that meeting? And the answer is no, because I knew the meeting wasn't really going to go anywhere. It wasn't going to serve him. It wasn't going to serve me. And I realized that was just busy. It was just a busy thing. It was just a busy, calendar appointment.
Sure.
And so, so I reached out and I said, hey man, I know this is out of the blue, but I'd like to cancel our meeting. I just don't see us doing things together. No hard feelings at all. Happy to have a short call about it if you want to, but just wish you all the best. And sorry, it's just not gonna fit right now.
Right.
That was kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
His response was so gracious, and I had clarity. And what I did with that hour is I invested in what what I knew was going to build towards where I was going for the next.
You edited more videos of your band.
We're actually, I affiliate. It's one of my revenue streams. And so for those keeping it on awesome. Revenue streams, affiliate revenue is really powerful. So one of the tools that we use in our online business has a good affiliate program. And I realized I haven't created recent free training on this program that we use. And so I said, you know what, instead of an hour where this guy's going to give me a sales pitch and we're going to dance around and I'm going to say, no, thanks anyway. I spent 1 hour and I made about 6 videos for this affiliate program.
Wow. That's awesome. That was a good use of your time for sure.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. You mentioned the TED Talk. I know people are going to be emailing me, hey, where do I find that? You can just make sure, just as a note to self here, I'll get to if you can get me that link, I'll put it in the show notes. Brian
Dixon, TEDx on YouTube. It's a TEDx talk.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. That's awesome. Mission, mentor, mindset.
That's right. How to do your impossible. Because here's the thing, guys. I believe that you can generate a 6-figure plus income. I'm actually starting to say 7 because it's a lot easier than you think in 2019 if you're really focused. So, but for those that aren't there yet, you can generate a 6-figure income online by following some proven practices. The fact that you guys are listening to the show right now, like Ryan's done it. Ryan, you've done it multiple times over. Like Success Leaves Clues. Get Ryan's book. Follow what he teaches, hear about people like Dan Miller and Jim Cochran and others that have done it, follow what they teach, follow what I teach. I've done it multiple times over. Right. And it will make an impact on your life if you do the work.
That's the key thing.
That's work. Right. Nobody wants to do the work. They just want the results.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I got courses on my hard drive that I probably will never listen to or watch, but that's okay. There are things that I probably don't need to be doing anyway. But guys, if you're wanting to start an Amazon business, for example, don't let that happen. You get that course, whatever you're trying to go after, and consume the content, but more importantly, take action, because it can and will change your life. So
That's right. You know, I was working with one of my earliest clients was Michael Hyatt, and I got to see the way he lives, and it blew my mind and changed so much of the way that I look at my day.
mm-hmm.
And I remember he bought Jeff Walker's product launch formula for
Yep.
$2,000. He paid for it.
Yep.
He bought it for $2,000, and he told the team, "I just bought this. I'm excited about it. It's the first time he'd ever gone through it." And here's what he said. He said, "I normally wake up at 5. But for these next, whatever it was, for these next 14 days,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to wake up at 4 and I'm going to commit the first hour of the day to watching all the videos and implementing product launch formula."
Wow.
And it blew my mind. I'm like, are you kidding me? Somebody like Michael Hyatt, who is doing fine financially, is doing fine in his life, but he's willing to make the sacrifice of an hour of sleep to implement a new program. And now you go, okay, 5 years later, he follows that system to a T, and it's made him multi-million dollars. So you guys have access to a course right now. What if you sacrifice 1 hour a day and actually implemented that course?
That's good stuff. Wow, even Michael Hyatt does it. That's cool. That's probably why he's where he is. So,
that's right. Exactly why.
Cool. We're family guys. Let's talk about the role of our family in all of this. Like, it's not something we're like, oh, now I got to go and spend time with the family. For me, I mean, like, this is my son's nap time. And so if normally he could just be walking in anytime on a webinar that we do. And I actually don't mind, because for me, I'm not going to get that time back. You know, when he's 16, he's not going to be doing that probably. So I embrace that. But talk about your family, the role that they've played in your success, and how that just all works out.
Yeah, we've got to switch our perspective. You know, your wife is not your kryptonite. She can be your superpower, and your kids are not your liability. They can be your legacy. There's 2 chapters. There's a chapter in the book on your spouse, and there's a chapter in the book on your kids.
Okay.
Because I really believe if you show up and serve the people in your life, it changes you, and they support you. I've got a video on my Facebook profile that you guys can go find, and it's the day my hardcover books arrived. And if you watch in the video, how excited my kids are. They even use words like, "Are these the advanced reader copies, Dad?" Because you can see I brought them with me. They're actually on the cover. I don't know if I've even told you this, Ryan, but
really?
that's my wife, first person, because you start with your spouse.
That's awesome.
My 9-year-old son, my 6-year-old daughter, my 3-year-old son. This is my parents with their dog. That's my 90-year-old grandmother. These are real people on the cover.
You had a cartoonist create those?
We did. Yeah. We hired somebody on Upwork to create it.
That's awesome.
And it works through starting with family, and then to my business partners, and then to my mastermind group, and then to some of the influencers that I'm good friends with, and then to some of the influencers that I'm still trying to get to know.
That's so cool.
Everybody on the cover has either endorsed the book or promoted the book, which is amazing. You know, and it's all about building up relationships, and those relationships start with the kids, those little eyeballs looking at you at 6 a.m, you know, or that spouse looking across the dinner table from you and going, he's not going to quit his job and start that Amazon thing, is he? You know, she's desperate for connection. And it's so important. And when we turn towards our spouse and we turn towards our kids, it actually helps us grow our business.
That is so good. Guys, we've been chatting with Brian Dixon, author of the book, Start With Your People. You can get it on Amazon and probably wherever else books are sold. I saw it that you and your wife were in Barnes & Noble and saw it on the shelves. Congrats on that. Fun. That is super cool to be able to walk into a bookshelf and actually see your book sitting there.
That's pretty awesome.
Guys, so again, that's Start With Your People. Guys, this has been fun. Brian, I'm sure I'll have you on again. We could talk about this stuff for hours. But you're listening to Streams of Income Radio. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. You can get my book, Streams of Income, for free at streamsofincomeradio.com, along with all the show notes, the links that we've mentioned today. And sorry, I have to redo that. Okay. What's so cool about recording all this is that my person at the radio station can just fix all this.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Along with all the links, the show notes, and every other episode that we've ever, let me do this again. Okay. All right. You can get my book, Streams of Income, for free at streamsofincomeradio.com, along with all the show notes and all the other episodes that we've recorded. I've also turned this into a podcast. So, Brian, thanks so much for being on with me. Really enjoyed it, man.
Thanks so much for having me. It was amazing.